Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda. Is there any add-ons to our agenda here today? See none? The recommendation here that the agenda be approved as presented. Moved by Deputy Mayor Carlson, second by Councillor Coburn. All in favor? Carried. The declarations of interest you can clear anytime you see fit during the meeting. Minutes of the previous minutes. A recommendation that the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment held on October 20th, 2020 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Barfoot, second by Councillor Coburn. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
CV24 Chanel Call joins us live from Clare Lee Public School near Victoria Park and St. Clair. Chanel.
Is carried. We're down to new business. Do I need a motion, Madam Clerk, to go into committee adjustments, or we are okay? This is a meeting of the Committee of Adjustment to consider application of consent for Eric Robson and Mike Robson under Section 53 of the Planning Act regarding property legally described as Concession 24, Lot 14. Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you, Chair. There have been no requests for deferral or withdrawal of the application. Notice of this consent in accordance with Ontario Regulation 197-96 made under the Planning Act was given on November 6, 2020 by ordinary mail to all property owners within 60 meters of the property which is subject to the application and to all required agencies. Notice was also posted on the subject lands and the township's website. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment, you must make a written request to the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee. Only a person or public body that requests a notice of decision of the Committee in respect to this proposed consent may submit an appeal.
Thank you, Devin. Could the planner give us an updated planning report regarding this file? Devin?
Thank you, Chair. So this is a unique application in the sense that it falls within the NEC. This application will sever a 1.7 hectare or 4.2 acre proposed lot from a 41 hectare or 100 acre existing lot. The proposed lot currently contains a dwelling with accessory structures that has been rendered surplus to an agricultural operation. The retained lot will continue to be used for livestock grazing in conjunction with the adjacent farm property to the west. The remnant 39.7 hectare or 91.8 acre parcel will become an agricultural purposes only lot. So if we look at the policies affecting the proposal, under the PPS, section 2.1 natural heritage, the retained lot will be zoned for no development, meaning agricultural purposes only, and no new development is proposed on the severed lot. Looking at section 2.1.7 natural heritage, again, the retained lot will be zoned for no development and no new development is proposed on the severed lot. 2.1.8 of natural heritage, again, the retained lot will be zoned for no development and no new development is proposed on the severed lot. Looking at section 3.1, no natural hazards were identified on the subject property. Schedule A of recolor gray designates the subject property as Niagara Escarpment Plan area. Policies of the Niagara Escarpment Plan shall apply. Looking at Schedule C of recolor gray, identifies the existence of core areas and linkages on the subject property. The lot creation will, however, happen outside of the 120 meter buffer. Appendix A of recolor gray indicates that the subject property contains karst. The retained lot will be zoned for no development and no new development is proposed on the severed lot. Appendix B of recolor gray contains significant woodlands. The retained lot will be zoned for no development and no new development is proposed on the severed lot. Appendix B indicates areas of natural and scientific interest on the subject property. The retained lot will be zoned for no development and no new development is proposed on the severed lot. Section 1.5.4.7 of the Niagara Escarpment Plan permits the severance of a lot with a residence that has been rendered surplus to an agricultural operation as a result of a farm consolidation. Section 2.4.22 of the Niagara Escarpment Plan, you'll see there's a significant policy review offered. If you look at the comments that were supplied by NEC staff, they are satisfied that the policies contained in this section 2.4.22 have been met. NEC staff have reviewed the application against their policies, and they have issued a development permit on October 23rd, indicating that the application meets the intent of the Niagara Escarpment Plan. And to speak about MDS separation calculations, the new lot proposed has an existing dwelling and livestock facility. So pursuant to guideline number 9, an MDS calculation is not required. As well, and the MDS guideline number 14, there is an existing livestock facility located on the same lot as the proposal, again negating the requirement for the MDS. Relevant consultation. So the notice of complete application and public hearing was circulated to various agencies for review. Following comments were received prior to the submission deadline. Starting with the Niagara Escarpment Commission, in comments dated December 8th, 2020, the NEC notes that the lot creation policies of Part 1.5.4.7 of the escarpment rural area permit the severance of a lot with a residence that has been rendered surplus to an agricultural operation as a result of a farm consolidation. NEC staff are also satisfied that Part 2.4.22 of the NEP, which includes the relevant policies related to farm consolidation, surplus residence, and agricultural purposes only lots, have been met. NEC staff have no objection to the proposal, given the conditions outlined in their comments are included with the approval. Grey County Planning and Development, in comments dated November 19, 2020, Grey County Planning and Development notes no concerns as the application is not proposing any new development. County planning staff have no further concerns. Grey Solvable Conservation Authority, in comments dated January 3rd, 2020, note no objections to the subject proposal as it will not impact any areas regulated under Ontario Regulation 150-106, natural hazards, and it is not anticipated to impact any natural heritage features, provided no new development occurs on the APO lot. They request that their office be notified of any decisions or appeals related to this matter. The RMO office notes that this property is not within a vulnerable protection area in their comments dated November 9th, 2020. HSM, in comments dated November 24th, 2020, notes they have no objection or opposition to the proposed development. Hydro One, in comments dated November 8th, notes that they have no comments or concerns at this time. UPI Energy, in comments dated November 9th, note that they have no issues, sorry. And Enbridge Gas, in comments dated November 9th, 2020, note that there may be service lines running within the area that could be affected by the proposed severance. Should the severance impact these services, it may be necessary to terminate gas service and relocate the line according to the new property boundaries. Any service relocation required due to a severance would be at the cost of the property owner. Also, should future gas service be required to either the severed or retained parcel, a request for gas service needs to be submitted. And Bell Canada, in comments dated November 9th, note no concerns with the application. The notice of complete application and public hearing was also circulated to all property owners within 60 meters of the subject property. No written comments in support of or in opposition to this application were received prior to the submission deadline. So in conclusion, it has been demonstrated that the proposed severance application B0720 for Eric Robinson, care of Mike Robinson and Questa Planning Consultants, is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the County of Grey official plan, and the Niagara Escarpment Plan. The recommendation is that application B0720 for Eric Robinson, care of Mike Robinson and Questa Planning Consultants be approved subject to the following conditions. One, that a reference plan be completed and copy filed with the municipal clerk or an exemption from the reference plan be received from the Land Registry Office. Number two, that pursuant to section 53, subsection 42 of the Planning Act, the certificate of consent be affixed to the deed within 1 year of the giving of the notice of decision. Section 53, subsection 43 of the Planning Act requires that the transaction approved by this consent must be carried out within 2 years of the issuance of the certificate. Number 3, that the applicant pays the applicable consent certification fee at the time of certification of the deeds. Number 4, that the applicant pays 5% cash in lieu of parkland in accordance with the Planning Act. Number 5, these are the conditions that NEC staff have specifically requested are present. That an agreement on title is entered under section 24, subsection 2.1 of the NEPDA in a form acceptable to the Niagara Escarpment Commission. The agreement shall provide that the lot will not be used for any other purpose other than the agricultural use prescribed in section 2.4.23 of the NEP, which, amongst other matters, will specify that no dwelling unit, including a mobile home or portable dwelling unit, farm, help house, or agricultural structure will be established on the APO-only lot. And number 6, that it is determined that the surplus residence is an existing dwelling and has been determined to be habitable under the provisions of the Ontario Building Code at the time of application for severance. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. No members of the public registered with the clerk to provide comment in support of or in opposition to the applicant. I now call upon authorized agent Don Scott to make comment on this application. Please state your first and last names for the record prior to beginning. Mr. Scott, the floor is yours.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, Don.
Okay, yeah, we're basically in support of the application. It's very similar to the surplus farm severances that are approved under the provincial policy statement, and it's demonstrated that you're not allowed to put any new residential development on the property. In other words, you're not creating a new residential lot, you're creating a strictly farming lot. And I always, at that point, draw into question the merits in applying a 5% cash in lieu parkland dedication, which is supposed to be for residential development. And when no residential development is being created, I question the ability of, well, not the ability, I question the merit in establishing a parkland dedication for non-residential development. Those are basically my only comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Are there any points raised by the agent or committee that anyone wishes to reply to? Does the committee have any concerns or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion on the decision. Okay, I have a recommendation here. The application BZ 720 for Eric Robson and Mike Robson be approved subject to the following conditions. 1, that a reference plan be completed in a copy file with the municipal clerk, or an exemption from the registry plan be received from the land registry office. 2, referring to section 5342 of the Planning Act, the certificate of consent be affixed to the deed within 1 year of giving out the notice of decision. Note, section 5343 of the Planning Act requires the transaction approved by this consent must be carried out within 2 years of the issuance of a certificate stamping the deed. 3, that the applicant pays applicable consent certification fee in the time of certification of the deeds. 4, that the applicant pay 5% cash in lieu of parkland in accordance with the Planning Act. 5, that agreement on title is entered under section 24.2.1 of the Niagara Escarpment Planning and Development Act in a form acceptable to the Niagara Escarpment Commission. The agreement shall provide that the lot will not be used for any other purpose other than the agricultural use prescribed to Part 2.4, 2.23 of the Niagara Escarpment Plan, which amongst other matters will specify that no dwelling unit, including a mobile home or portable dwelling unit, farmhouse, outhouse, or agricultural structure be established on the agricultural purpose only lot. 6, that is determined that the surplus residence is an existing single dwelling and has been determined to be habitable under the provisions of the Ontario Building Code at the time of the application for severance. Someone to move to put on the floor, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Carlton, second by Councillor Barfoot. Is there any discussion on the motion before us? Carol, go ahead. Councillor Barfoot.
Okay. Sorry. I had the same question as Mr. Scott had, is why are we asking for a parkland dedication fee? We're not creating any new residential. So I have to agree with him on that point.
Thank you, Carol. Devin, you will respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So under the Planning Act, parkland dedication is a requirement. It is not only tied to residential development. There is a requirement for commercial and industrial as well. So the validity of the argument that there's no, that it's only for residential development is incorrect. Also, the APO lot is being created, but we are creating a new residential lot. So the residential lot holds an existing dwelling, which in the future can be sold for residential purposes.
Thank you, Devin. Does the committee have any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion before us? It is carried. I'll now call for adjournment of this hearing. We need to move her to seconder, Madam Clerk, or just adjourn? Councilor Colburn asked for adjournment. So we know other business here today. Our next meeting will be determined January 12th if needed. If there's no other business here today, our committee is adjourned.
You need a motion to
It's
adjourn.
the,
You need a
motion.
A motion to adjourn, moved by Councilor Barfoot, second by Deputy Mayor Carlton, that we adjourn. All in favor? We are now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.